Welcome to Reviews from Purgatory with J. Matt Wyand. This is the first video I'm doing, I'm going to be giving some introduction, and then I will get into An American Werewolf in London. I would like to focus on a lot of older movies, in particular as we approach October 31st, classic horror movies. I'll tell you which ones are worth seeing, which ones are not. There's a lot of them out there that had a lot of hype around them, like A Nightmare on Elm Street and so on, that don't really live up to the hype. If you see them, you will find they aren't really that scary, and if you want a really good horror movie, I can tell you which ones are. And I'll tell you what is good about them, without giving away any spoilers, I'll tell you what makes this or that movie really good, what kind of story it is, and so on. So, that'll be the focus for the next couple months. Horror movies. Review for this time then. An American Werewolf in London, 1981, written and directed by John Landis. As you can see here, this is the Blues Brothers. John Landis made his career directing comedies, Animal House, Coming to America, and he wrote and directed Blues Brothers here with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. He spent years gathering the money to do An American Werewolf in London. Financial backers didn't want to touch it because they thought it was too funny to be a horror movie and too scary to be a comedy. So John Landis had to gather all the money himself to put on the movie, and it turned out very well. So, the second thing to say about this movie is that John Landis' good friend, Rick Baker, makeup and special effects legend, works on this film. It's one of his better works. It got him an Oscar in 1981 for best makeup in a movie. And Rick Baker worked on like The Howling, Videodrome, Men in Black 1 through 3, Star Wars. Anyway, he talked to Landis about doing two-legged werewolves, but Landis really wanted to do a four-legged werewolf in this movie. Demon Hound from Hell, as he described it. So, what they had to do is do a sort of a wheelbarrow thing, and you had this guy lying on this plank with wheels on it, and they have a wolf suit around it. So you never really see the rear end of the wolf, because they're having to wheel it around this way. He designed it after his pet dog, and it's really well done. And despite, all the time that has passed, it's still pretty damn impressive. So, Rick Baker also had to have the transformations and show, like, horribly torn apart people, and so do the undead. It did those all justice too. You see, the makeup is very impressive here, very realistic. Probably the best work here is actually not the werewolves and stuff, but the makeup they applied to Griffin Dunn, who has to look like an undead corpse and gets increasingly rotted through the course of the movie. It's really, really still very impressive, despite how much makeup technology has improved since then. Basic story here. What you would get off the back of the DVD or whatever. You have two young Americans, Jack Goodman and David Kessler, who are backpacking through Europe. Their plan is to get to Italy eventually. They're currently in England. They're on the moors. Not too far from London, but a ways. And they go to a weird little pub in this town they end up at. The Slaughtered Lamb. And all the people in the pub, of course, are weird, and there seems to be something they're worried about, but as always is the case in horror films, they don't really let the outsiders in on the secret or what have you. The young men don't feel welcome there, so Jack Goodman and David Kessler go ahead and leave. They just decide to keep on walking, on through the night, maybe camp somewhere. But they hear these horrible noises and they get attacked. It'll tell you right on the box that they get attacked. I mean, this is very early on. They're attacked. David Kessler is injured by the creature, by the werewolf, while Jack Goodman is killed by it. Now the townspeople show up and kill the werewolf that attacked them. And then you have David Kessler waking up in a hospital in London 3 weeks later. He's been unconscious for about 3 weeks or more. So conveniently, it's the full moon again. Anyway, at the hospital there is a nurse who's very interested in him. And he and Nurse Alex Price get involved eventually when he is released from the hospital. And then, obviously, since he's been bitten, there's all those problems. Now, what I could say about this film is that it goes to a different angle with the werewolf thing, as things blossom out into all the events in London, the murders and so on there. Often werewolves are portrayed as primal, natural beings in movies, or it's sort of losing yourself to animal instinct. No, these werewolves are definitely evil. It's a curse. You see, perhaps one of the best ideas in this film, that they would tell you on the blurb even, is he keeps seeing his dead friend. So Griffin Dunne, who plays Jack Goodman, luckily gets to keep appearing in the movie, you know. He keeps showing up as an increasingly rotted person who explains that there's a curse, and until the last of the werewolf line is dead, he cannot rest. So his body keeps showing up and telling him weird stuff, and he doesn't know whether he's going crazy or what. And at the same time, there's some very awesome nightmares too that David Naughton has. David Naughton's character, David Kessler, has. And it really works well. Now, the thing is, though, it's not really that scary. I mean, I have a fear index thing I'll bring up here. I tend to improve this graphic a lot. Anyway, it's really not very scary. It's mildly scary. But the thing is, this is just more of a comedy than a horror film. I really think that. And you can see with Landis how it would be that way. That's his background. Anyway, so it's a really good movie. I mean, I would give it 7.5 out of 10. So, yeah, it's not exactly perfect. The thing is that sometimes it's a little wooden, and you're not sure whether they're trying to be funny, like they're deliberately trying to be wooden, or that's just how it is. It feels a little stale at times, and other times it's trying to be funny clearly, but it falls a little flat. But overall, it's a very, very good movie. I would totally recommend it. If you're looking for a film to really scare you, though, in October, this is an early film. Watch this early in October. Save something really dark for October 31st and that week. It is pretty funny a lot of the time, though, so you'll like it. It's an enjoyable movie. It's got a sense of humor about itself. And you even have like a cameo by Frank Oz, and the Muppets show up. Not like in person, but they're on a TV during a particularly awesome nightmare sequence. It's particularly awesome deadpan comedy at times. You'll really like it. You've got some impressive camera work here in places. Like there's a sequence where a man is running from the creature, and it's just shown him running down this tunnel away from it, you know, showing it from his view as he keeps turning and falling down and so on as he desperately tries to run away from it. And You got a nice soundtrack here. They used pretty much every version of Blue Moon there is, and got like Van Morrison's Moon Dance, and Creedence Clearwater Revival's Bad Moon Rising, at various points, you know. And it works here. It's kind of funny too, you know. And you know, it's really a fun flick. It's not going to terrify you per se, but it's worth checking out. It's definitely worth checking out. Now, one last gold star for this film before I take off. It has nudity, and it works in this film. I'm not saying you can't have nudity in films. I'm not some prude. I'm just saying that horror films are notorious for just tacking it in there. You know, conveniently, the young woman disrobes and then is killed by some psychopath, right? That's how it works in horror films. Well, the nudity here, it fits. It all fits. You've got these dream sequences where the main character, David Kessler, is running through the woods naked, you know. It fits. It's werewolf nightmares, you know. And then you've got him getting involved with the nurse, Alex Price, and that works. It's a believable little romance. It's kind of sweet even, you know. And, of course, you know, they have sex and it works. The nudity makes sense. And even the end, this part at the ending, where the dead friend appears to him again and calls him into a porno movie theater, and they're having this weird surreal conversation at the back of the theater during that, and he transforms not too long after that, and that really fits. That's like one of the best scenes in the movie. It works. So they get a gold star for having nudity in their film. That worked. That really fit the story. It wasn't tacked in just to make people more inclined to watch the movie. It's there because it works. As opposed to, say, throwing on a 3 double D, where it's just there to lure people in. Anyway, so it's a very good movie. It's a horror comedy. You'll enjoy it. It won't scare you. But so what? It's very good. It's a very good film. Check it out if you got a chance this October or even earlier. And buy it, rent it, or you can check it out on Netflix's streaming content. I'm not sure about Amazon Video. I would like a contact who could tell me about what is available on Amazon Video and so on. So feel free to email me. That's earlier in the video and in the details below. Until next time, this has been J. Matt Wygand with Reviews from Purgatory. Adios.
Good morning.
Can I have a piece of toast?
Get the fuck out of here, Jack.
Thanks a lot.
No, I can't take this. Am I asleep now, awake, or what?
I realize I don't look so hot, David. But I thought you'd be glad to see me. David, you're hurting my feelings.
Hurting your feelings? Has it occurred to you that it might be unsettling to see you rise from the grave to visit me?
Sorry to be upsetting you, David, but I had to come.
Aren't you supposed to be buried someplace in New York?
Yeah. Your parents came to my funeral. I was surprised at how many people came.
Well, why should you be surprised? You were a very well-liked person.
Yeah, I was, wasn't I?
Well, I liked you.